Hi there, everybody. My name is Mike Mathiesen, and I'm a writer and author, publisher. I've been doing it a long time. So I've got about 50 different books out about science and science fiction. And we're going to go into some of those right now on a little presentation that I've done. And the reason I'm showing you my background is because we're going to get to something really interesting in a minute that you won't hear about anywhere else. And it has to do with the greatest achievement in human history. But right now, I want to show you some of the things that I've done that build up to this new concept of mine. A long time ago, about 10, 15 years ago, I wrote a book called The Four States of Consciousness. And I don't want to go into all of the details, but those are the four states of consciousness right there. And this is from the most recent scientific discovery in quantum physics, one of the major ones being the God particle, another one being that there's such a thing called entanglements. That means that subatomic particles can actually know about each other and they remember each other. So this was the most radical thing I'd ever heard of when I read about it years ago, and I did some research and decided to write about it. That led me to a more recent book that talks about the three laws of consciousness. And I'm the inventor of these three laws, and I don't think that you will find anything that has more validity and more truth about consciousness than my three laws. And they are that consciousness creates all things. That's law number one. Second one is that consciousness connects all things. The third law of consciousness is that consciousness consists of all things. And if you read that book of mine, you'll find more details about how I came up with that and why it's true for everyone. This is a mathematical formula that I came up with to prove some of my contentions. And it basically states that 0 to the power of infinity equals u or any number. And this is just it's non-violable. It's as important a mathematical proof and formula as E equals mc squared. And I came up with that. I'm pretty proud of that. I also wrote a book recently called My Cosmic Brain. And it's science fiction. And one of the things that happens is we move the planet of Mars closer to the sun, closer to the Earth's orbit as well. And that warms Mars up about 100 degrees and becomes habitable for the first time. Now, as I was writing that book, I got another idea, and it led me to the book that I'm here to tell you about, really. It's called The Greatest Achievement in Human History. And the title is The Book to End All Books. And the reason I say it's the greatest achievement in human history is because the book, again, is science fiction, but it talks about how we can actually light up the planet of Jupiter and have two suns in the sky. Most planets have two suns already, but the Earth only has one. And the reason we don't have two suns is because Jupiter never exploded into a sun as it was intended to. So in my book, which again is science fiction, but the science is all verifiable and doable in my lifetime and yours. Jupiter is a gas giant, which means it did not ignite into a star because it's not as big enough and dense enough to self-ignite. So it's sitting there waiting for an outside source like us to come along and ignite it with an experiment in fusion, cold fusion, that we've already done in the laboratory many times. And I believe we should get behind this and start thinking about this and planning to do this with NASA and SpaceX, because two suns in the sky would solve all of our energy problems overnight and give us a second planet to live on as insurance against extinction. Now, some people, the smarter people that are watching us right now, the smarter ones among you, are saying to yourself, well, what if we had two suns? We already have global warming. Wouldn't that warm us up even faster? And from my investigation, I don't think it would. And here's the reason. First of all, in this diagram, we see the sun is here and the blue planet right here is the Earth. The distance between the sun and the Earth is known as the astronomical unit. It's about 90 million miles. Now, the next planet from us is another astronomical unit or so. It's actually a little bit more, which is Mars. So there's two astronomical units. From Mars to Jupiter is three more. Another 300 million miles before we get to Jupiter from Mars. So Mars is far enough away from the Earth that the extra heat would not matter to us at all. We would get a lot of light, and the other reason why it wouldn't, it doesn't add up to a lot of global warming is that the sun is 1,000 times the volume of Jupiter. So here's Jupiter here, here's the sun that I represented, much bigger than Jupiter in volume. Okay, so Jupiter as a second sun would not have a lot of heat for us. Remember, it's also far away, farther away that I just showed you, about 5 times farther away. So two suns would actually help reduce global warming because the added free and clean solar power from the Jupiter sun would reduce greenhouse gases because we're going to use much less fossil fuel, eventually being down to zero. And fossil fuel, of course, is a burning of the carbon dioxide of the fossil fuels, the gasoline and oil and natural gas, coal, etc., is what causes CO2 to go into the atmosphere. That causes the greenhouse effect, and that's what's causing global warming, not the sun. So having a second one that's much farther away, smaller, would not add any appreciable increase in our warmth. However, it would allow us to have twice as much solar power. And we have the technology now to do this. This is the cover of my book where I'm showing you how in the climax we've set up 4 high-powered laser beams from the 4 moons of Jupiter. This one is Ganymede, and they fire them into the center of Jupiter, and it ignites with fusion, not to explode it, but to start the cold fusion process inside of Jupiter. It would blow up instantly into a second sun, smaller and farther away, but enough to produce way more energy than we're getting now from our present sun. So this is a story about how SpaceX and NASA can actually get this done in our lifetimes. And imagine having 2 suns in the sky. It would be the most inspiring thing in our history. And I think that's what we need right now more than anything, is a little bit of inspiration to take us away from all of the horrible, horrific things that are going on. People seem to be losing their minds in huge numbers, more and more every day. But if we inspire to do something, get unified and do this one thing, I think it would guarantee our future for millions of years and be a heck of a lot of fun at the same time. So let's go full steam ahead. Let's begin the greatest achievement in human history. You'll find all the details in my new science fiction book, The Book to End All Books. But remember, this is my idea. I originated it. No one else has ever talked about this. I came up with it from my science fiction and science background. I think it's time to actually do it. So hope you'll get involved and get a copy of the book and give it a review. You can get it on Amazon. It's also an Audible book. And start talking about it. No one's ever thought of it before, but there's no reason why we shouldn't have a second sun in the sky. Think about it. We would be the first living being, as far as we know, in the universe to create another star in the heavens. And that would be amazing. Let's do it. Let's get out there and explore the right way. NASA right now is making a big whoop-de-doo about going to the moon again. There's no reason to go back to the moon. Absolutely none. Total waste of billions and billions of dollars when we could start using the money to do something truly inspirational and worthy of us as an intelligent species, not doing the same thing over and over again. But going to Mars first, because that's where you see in the book, we launched this project. It's called the Jupiter Ignition Project. And then from there, you ignite Jupiter into the second sun. It's sitting there, untold billions and billions of tons of hydrogen just waiting to be ignited through cold fusion that we know how to do right now. We're doing it in the laboratory and creating the second sun. Let's do it. Hope you'll get on board and join me. Thanks for listening.